Hello everyone. I thought what we'd explore today was the theme of interdependence. And of course it's such a beautiful theme to look at in moving practice because we need the whole of the body to move together in harmony in order to find that fluidity, that flow, that range of movement. So to start us off, let's just come into easy pose, Sukhasana. And it's often more comfortable with a cushion just to lift the hips a little bit so that the knees are not floating in the sky. Ideally, we want the knees to be just the same height or lower than the hips. And you can, of course, have some cushions underneath the knees just so that they feel supported. So I found a poem that just explores our theme a little bit. And it's called Blackbirds by Julie Cadwallader-Stowe. I am 52 years old and have spent truly the better part of my life out of doors. But yesterday I heard a new sound above my head, a rustling, ruffling quietness in the spring air. And when I turned my face upward, I saw a flock of blackbirds, rounding a curve I didn't know was there. And the sound was simply all those wings, just feathers against air, against gravity, and such a beautiful winning. The whole flock taking a long, wide turn, as if of one body and one mind. How do they do that? Oh, if we lived only in human society, with its cruelty and fear, its apathy and exhaustion, what a puny existence that would be. But instead we live and move and have our being here, in this curving and soaring world, so that when every now and then mercy and tenderness triumph in our lives, and when even more rarely we manage to unite and move together toward a common good, we can think to ourselves, ah yes, this is how it's meant to be. So gently bringing hands into your lap or on your knees. Tuning into the rhythm of your breath. Allowing each breath to deepen just a little. And each out-breath to lengthen. That sense of melting in to gravity. The shoulders softening, the jaw releasing, the belly and the buttocks melting down towards the earth. And checking in, of course, with your body this morning, how it's feeling. Celebrating the parts that are open and vibrant, and bringing care and tenderness to the places that ache or tighten up. And now as you breathe in, imagine the air floating from the nostrils all the way down the spine, right the way to the tailbone. And as you breathe out, imagine moving up from the coccyx all the way up and back out through the nostrils. And in your mind's eye, just taking your journey through the cervical spine, the thoracic spine, all the way down into the lumbar spine. Each little vertebrae, slightly different shapes, all acting together to allow our freedom of movement. Each one play its part, and somehow curving, moving like a flock of birds. So now bring a little movement into your breath. On the inhale, just arching the lower back, lifting the heart. On the exhale, gently curving under. These gentle undulations just to massage each of the vertebrae. Inviting the fluid to flow through and round, nourishing those little dry spots. Like oiling the parts of a machine. And so we know that the spine loves to move in 3 different directions. It loves this gentle forward and back. It gets nourished when we move side to side as the spine curves. And of course, as each vertebrae stacks and twists one on top of the next, we can move in a twisting manner. So coming back to stillness for now, bringing the fingertips onto the earth beside you. And then just warming the upper body with some sun breaths, and we'll move into the spine. So inhaling, arms up and overhead, and exhaling the arms down. One arm may like to rush. Just notice if we can keep them flowing together like the wings of a bird. There may be some crunching, some little internal sounds from the shoulders. Just listening in with tenderness and mercy. And then letting your left hand come down as you gently ease over towards the right. And then switching sides, so just fluid movements to start with. I often speak about how the muscles in the body just love this rhythmic movement. It invites the blood to flow, to juice up the muscles, which are 70% moisture, so they can really get full and juicy, and then begin to stretch. So next time your hand comes down to the ground, just lift up with the opposite hand and then lean in, and just hold that a little bit. So you may be resting on the hand or on the forearm if your body is willing. Maybe turning the gaze a little bit up to the sky and using the breath to expand into the rib cage. And then the out breath may allow the arm to feel a little bit heavier, as if you're being invited towards the earth. And now in your mind's eye, picture the curving of the spine, the compression on the one side, the opening and the other. Noticing how all parts of the body participate. The spine curves, the ribs open on the one side, they compress on the other. The armpit opens, the arm lengthens. Just feel that entire participation in this beautiful curve. And then gently pushing your way up. And once again, a couple of fluid movements just to take out any tightness or places where the body may have contracted a little. And then when you're over on the opposite side, just resting the hand down once again, lifting your top arm up to the sky, feeling that stretch right from the hip crease right to the fingertips, and then resting down to where your body enjoys. Maybe it's the hand, maybe the forearm. And then take a moment to feel how the breath can expand the rib cage and then can melt us down on the exhale. And picturing your C curve on this side. Each vertebrae very subtly shifting position, one on top of the next, to give us this beautiful curve. And then gently release. And a couple more flowing movements. Especially when the weather's colder, we want to honor the body, just to start warming and juicing it up. If we imagine the cerebrospinal fluid like coconut oil, when it's cold it solidifies, when it warms up it's able to flow. So coming back to stillness and switching the cross of your legs, so that the hips get an even chance to play. Going to lift the arms up once again and then move into some easy flowing twists. So bringing right hand to the left knee, the other hand behind, and then switching sides. Just finding your own rhythm. Always good to move with your breath. The inhale takes the arms up. And the exhale takes the arms down. And the next time you're gazing to your left, just hold there. And now let's really feel into the spine. So on the inhale, drawing the spine long, really feel sense of being pulled through the top of the head. And then on the exhale, feel that gentle turning, one vertebrae on top of the next. So from the waist down there's stability. We want our foundation to be strong. But from the waist up, just notice those micro movements that allow you to twist into this pose. Maybe taking the gaze to the side or over the back shoulder. And then very gently release. The arms can float up once more. And turning your gaze to the right. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, deepen. And follow the own rhythm of your breath. And there may be places in the spine that feel a little less mobile. So you can also direct the breath there, bringing our tender awareness to these places of restriction. And as we notice, even with people, just our attentive presence can help free things up. So imagine how we can support our own body just with this tender presence. And then release, arms come up. Over to the opposite side. And once again, just to even out. Reach into the sky, push your tailbone down onto the ground. let the whole of the spine lengthen. Maybe lift the gaze a little bit. And then bowing forward. Just feel that hinging at the waist. Allow the hands to come to wherever they will. They're there to support us. Each part of the body playing its part. And then maybe as the spine allows, we deepen just a little. The underlying intention of all these practices, whether yoga or mindfulness, are really to cultivate compassion. And we begin with ourselves, our own body, our heart, our mind. And then it's easy for compassion to flow out into the world. Gently lifting your gaze, walking your hands back. And bringing them behind you, fingertips facing the buttocks, elbows hinging, just opening the chest, squeezing shoulder blades together, lifting the heart. And just notice as you drop your head back how it feels in the neck. Often the cervical spine is the place that takes some tension. So just drop it back and see where it feels okay. And then coming up. And let's take our neck release. It's quite a fun experiment to do. So bringing your legs out in front, and you're going to imagine that under the toes you have a pencil, and you're gripping that pencil and then lifting the knee, just pulling the foot back. So there's this gentle rhythmic movement. Just with one foot to start with. About 5 times. And then release. And then take your gaze back and just notice where your eyes come to. There's spots on the wall or the ceiling. And then take the other foot. So gripping that pencil, pulling it back, letting the knee participate. So as we've talked about before, different parts of the body are related. Ankles and neck, hips and shoulders. If we bring freedom to one area, it can help the other. So now both toes together. Ankles, knees, just freeing the lower body in order to find out for ourselves whether it helps to free the upper body. And often the toes crackle and crunch, and we can imagine the neck in pretty much the same condition. And then relaxing and taking your head back once more. Does it feel any different? And then crossing your ankles, coming onto hands and knees, finding our familiar rhythm as we work our way up into our standing sequence. So as you inhale, arch the spine. As you exhale, scooping under, and really feel yourself leading with the tailbone through these transitions so that we get very conscious about the whole of the connection of the lumbar, the thoracic, and the cervical spine. And if we can really bring attention to this central channel, our spine, all the nerves that run through the center of the vertebrae, we can really start to support the whole of the body. And then just gazing back, looking at your tail, feeling that side stretch that we did in our seated pose, and then gazing over to the other side. It's a bit like wagging your tail. Just gently side to side. And then when you're ready, you can take your hands a hand distance in front. Tuck the toes, come into our crouching tiger. A lovely deep bend with the knees and a full lengthening through the spine. So really push the earth and your mat away from you. Feel that length moving up through the arms, through the shoulders, and then the whole way along the vertebrae, right to the coccyx, sticking up into the sky. Feel that delicious lengthening, and then softly floating forward into plank. So balanced on these long bones of the arms, and then push the earth away, back into crouching tiger. Floating forward into plank, just warming up the whole of our core, using the abdominals to transition. And really keeping our focus on the spine. How does it feel to be long and straight? And then you can gently walk out the heels, stretching calves and hamstrings, just waking them up with tenderness for our standing sequence. And when you're bending the knees, you can gaze under the armpits like a banana shape in the body. Just enjoying these different curves. And then let your little walk take you to the front of the mat. As you inhale, drawing the heart forward, so you'll be able to feel the muscles along the spine activating as you lift yourself forward and up, and then exhale, fold. And then pushing the feet into the earth, we gently rise up. Inhaling, lifting shoulders up to the ears, roll them back and down, and exhaling. And find Tadasana, find that real steadiness of the mountain, the feet pushed down into the earth, the kneecaps lifting, the tailbone scooping down and under, feeling that stretch through the front of the hips. The rib cage gently drawing in those lower floating ribs, and then a lift underneath, so an opening into the heart. And then let the arms float skywards. So palms come to touch and reach up, our Urdhva Hastasana, our really tall hands together pose, and maybe take a micro back bend. And then folding forwards. Inhale, flat back, the hands can press against the shins, but we're really using the muscles of the spine to lengthen. And then stepping the right leg back into lunge. Feel that strength in the right thigh. And then let the knee come to rest, maybe on a blanket if you prefer, or straight down onto the ground. And then when you're ready, lifting the arms skywards. Feel that length through the front of the right hip as the tailbone draws down. And then bringing the palms together, just as we did in our standing pose, and then down the midline. To the heart. The heart lifts a little, and we draw forward, and without touching elbow to knee, we just gently twist. So use the muscles in the spine to find that little twist. Draw the heart forward. And then back and up. Feel the lengthening once again. So always before twisting, we want to lengthen. Hands come down the midline. And again, use your musculature to draw you forward and twist. And then this time you can hook elbow over the knee. feel how it feels just to be supported. We can often go a little bit deeper. So lengthening and twisting the spine. And release. Arms come up into the sky once again. And then down the midline, or down either side of the front foot, and stepping back into downward facing dog. A long, deep inhale here. And imagine the exhale coming right from the tailbone all the way down the spine like a waterfall. Floating forward into plank. Nice and strong, thighs active, abdominals engaged. And then using your knees if you prefer. Hinging the elbows back, feel the upper arms brushing the ribcage and lowering down. And then these beautiful back strengthening poses where we inhale just a little bit. Exhale down. Let the hands lift for this one. Inhale up. So floating with the breath. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. And just as we did in the twist, once the hands are connected with something, you may be able to draw a little higher, feeling that curve in the spine. Exhale down. If you like to, take hands a little further back so that this time when you push, the hips lift. You're in your upward facing dog. And then you can rest the knees down to transition, or you can lift up through the belly, rolling over the toes and finding down dog once more. Breathing in, breathing out. Lifting the left foot behind you and stepping forward between the hands. So this time we'll keep that back heel lifted. It takes a little more balance, so just make sure your feet are on railway tracks. You have some space between. Push down to come up. That back knee stays lifted this time. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Palms touch down the midline. And drawing the heart forward like an arrow. Pull that left hip back just to keep the hips facing the front. And then gently imagine that right elbow going over the knee, but it's not touching. Breathing in, feel that length all the way from the back heel to the crown of the head. And then release, inhale up with the arms. Palms touch down the midline. And this time we can use that support, elbow on the knee, gently lifting the heart towards the hands. Feel how the length allows you to twist. And release. Hands either side of the front foot. Take a giant step to the front of your space. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Push into the earth. Feel each vertebrae stacking. Coming up really slowly, consciously. Just noticing where there are tighter spots, places where the vertebrae feel fused together. And for some people they are. So we bring that tenderness, that mercy. Arms lift into the sky. And then bringing your right arm next to your thigh, we're gently going to curve once again. Leaning over to the right side. Inhale, up, both arms, and they transition. Left hand down the thigh towards the knee. And feeling your differences side to side. One side may be quite easy. The other side needs some care. So often when we feel an internal restriction, we get critical, frustrated. But what our body needs is that real tenderness, that understanding. And last time, just making sure you've folded evenly left and right. And then bringing both arms skywards. And swallow dive. Or blackbird dive, flying forward and down. Inhale, flat back. And this time the left leg comes back. Find a strong lunge to start with. Really feel the thigh activating, hugging that femur bone. And then the knee can come to rest. The toes can stay tucked just to keep the back leg active and push down so you come up. Finding your balance, pulling down with the tailbone, long with the spine. Arms floating up overhead. Palms touch, down the midline. So hinging at the hips, just leaning forward. And then without touching that knee, we just twist. Using that internal strength to hold us steady. Gently release. Arms float up once again. Down the midline. And this time, we use the body to support itself. Elbow against the knee. A gentle push, feel that boundary. And notice how we can find this internal freedom. And release. Arms float up one last time. Maybe even a little back bend. You might want to move forward into that knee. And release, hands to either side of the front foot. And step back. Downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths. Just listening to your own breath. And let your next in-breath take you forward, plank. And down, knees, chin, chest, or chaturanga, where we just shift the shoulders forward and lower. And bringing the hands back beside you this time, you can leave them on the earth, just let them, the hands press down. And as you inhale, lift the heart. Exhale down. So we've got the back of the hands and the pubic bone pressing down, allowing us to float up. The third time, lifting. And then this time as we lift, let the right leg also lift. And lower, twice more. Same leg. And then the left leg and the torso. Juicing up those spinal muscles. And then everything together. Lift up. Maybe the hands interlace behind, squeeze the shoulder blades together and fly like a blackbird or a starling, finding that freedom within. And release. You can take a cheek to the earth, make a pillow with your hands, and let the body spread. Touching the earth. Even when we fly in the sky, the earth is always there beneath, steady, supporting. And bring the hands back. Again, choose where you want them to be. You can either push into hands and knees, or you can come into upward facing dog and then lift from the belly, roll over the toes, downward facing dog. Breathing in, breathing out. Allow the shoulders to move outwards. The skin on the outside of the armpits to draw downwards. Really feel that space. Sometimes we compress the shoulder blades against the spine, but now we want to give a lot of openness. And let the right leg float skywards, drawing it forward between the hands. Again, find your balance. Just the distance between the feet that feels comfortable, and when you're ready, push into the earth to come up. So just bending and shifting weight. You can either lift the back heel to bring the weight forward, or you can stretch that heel back. Just find your supportive pose, and then the arms come into the sky. Palms touch, down the midline. And now maybe just lifting that back heel, you'll notice how it draws you forward, and then find that unsupported twist. So without touching, just using our internal muscles. And release. Arms skywards. If the legs get wobbly, that's fine. We're reconnecting the muscles with the brain. They may cramp a little sometimes if they're not familiar with certain movements. Reaching forward, and this time the elbow can touch the knee. And gently pull that right hip back. Bend into the knee, let the spine lengthen, and the twist happens. And release. Hands to the earth. Shifting the weight onto the front foot, giant moon step. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. And drawing up to the sky. Just finding your symmetry left and right, your balance top and bottom, and palms down the midline to the heart. Just take a moment there to release any muscular activity. Imagine the skeleton just holding us upright, the earth holding from below. Just moving through a flow. So we'll inhale up, the same poses but without the holding. We'll just gently move on the breath. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, right leg back, and the knee comes to the earth. Inhale, arms float into the sky. Exhale, hands down the midline. Inhale, drawing the heart forward, twist. You can use the elbow this time and just gently open. Feel the out breath. And inhale, release. Hands to the earth, downward facing dog. Allow the breath to flow. And on your next inhale, forward into plank. Exhale, lower to the ground. Rolling shoulders back. Inhale into upward dog or cobra. Exhale back into down dog or through hands and knees. Just choosing your rhythm. Inhale, left leg into the sky. Exhale, step it forward between the hands, gently floating up. This time we'll just take this beautiful arrow lunge, reaching forward, shifting your weight to the front foot, just a moment in warrior three, and then hands touch down. Right leg joins the left. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Push down to reach up. Finding Urdhva Hastasana. And then floating down. Flowing with the other side. Inhale, flat back. Left leg back into lunge. Knee to the earth. Inhale, up into the sky. Exhale, arms down the midline. Inhale, draw the heart forward and twist. And on the exhale, deepening the twist. Inhale, release. Hands to the earth. Downward facing dog. Taking a couple of breaths just to stabilize, finding your symmetry. Inhale, forward. Exhale, release. Hands can interlace behind you. Inhale, Shalabhasana, our locust, lifting heart, lifting feet. Exhale down. Choosing your transition. Inhale. You can move back into child's pose and then down dog or upward dog. And meeting in downward facing dog. Breathing in, breathing out. Right leg lift into the sky, stepping forward between the hands. Push down to come up. Arms reach. And then arrow lunge, just drawing yourself forward. Find that long line. When you're ready, transition, warrior three. And then the arms can find the earth and the back leg steps to meet the front. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Push down to come up. Arms into the sky. And then gently lean to one side. Lifting up. Lean into the other. Almost like a blade of grass just being moved by the wind. And then gently release the hands next to the thighs. And a sense of just softening all the way down from the crown of the head, through the face and the jaw, the shoulders, the rib cage, the belly. Soft thighs, buttocks. And feel the feet. Make their little indentations in the mat. Bending deep into the knees. Fingertips sweep the earth. Finding your Utkatasana. Just for a moment. And then hands down. So you can take back whichever leg you prefer. I'm going to shift the left leg back so that I can turn and still see you all. And we'll be in our Prasarita Padottanasana for a moment. So the outer edge of your foot parallel with the narrow end of your mat. And then inhale, draw the heart forward. Feel the sits bones opening, the inner thighs moving back. And then exhale, gently draw down. Inhale, lift the heart. You may want a blanket for the knee, just, if your knees are a little bit vulnerable, we're going to bring the left knee onto the blanket. And the right leg out to the side, maybe a little forward. One of my favorite poses is Parigasana, just such a lovely side stretch. So we're going to take that right hand down the right leg, let your left arm lift up into the sky. And then gently, gently feel your way. You've got the hand to support you. So just as we did in sitting, feel the in-breath expanding into the rib cage and feel the vertebrae on that side opening. And then with the out-breath, notice that you can soften with gravity. You may go a little deeper, but not through force, just through a sense of the body learning to trust. Now, if you'd like to really activate that right leg, make it strong, and then lift your right arm up. So this is the unsupported version. Just feel the difference. It takes a lot of that internal strength. Bring the hand back down. Just notice how there's an internal sigh. And then bring your top arm all the way up. And see if it can find its way to the ground. There's a little moment of fear. Let it descend. And then open into this modified wild thing. Feeling the whole of the spine arc and open. And gently release. Beautiful. And switching sides. So your right knee on the ground. Your left foot out. Finding that length through the waist and letting your foot, it can either be a little bit forward or it can be out to the side. Just navigate for yourself so that you can balance. And then sliding that left hand down, let the right arm lift. Find the length, of course, as we always do, a long open spine. Imagine those little gaps between the vertebrae. And then one side can compress while the other side opens. We feel our way in. Really a sense of floating on the breath. How gravity is inviting us deeper each time we exhale. And again, if you like the active version, really strengthen up that left leg. Feel the thigh muscles hugging the femur bones. Feel your core becoming active. And lift that bottom arm. Stretching out and away. And return the hand to the leg. That lovely little sigh. And then gently coming up. Find your happy landing. Just touch down. You can stay on the fingertips. And then find your wild thing. And just like the birds, feel the heart opening as if it's singing. And gently return. both knees on the ground and sitting back on the heels. If Sukhasana with the legs crossed is more comfortable for you, then you're welcome to take that as an option. If you find the ankles are a little vulnerable, again, use a blanket or something just rolled up to make sure you feel steady. When daily life is giving us enough challenges, we want our yoga practice to be really a place that can support us, where we can cultivate this sense of internal tenderness. Mercy is the word from the poem, or compassion. So once again, let's use the breath to bring our focus into the present moment. Maybe even imagining a little sphere of light. And as you inhale, feel that sphere like a little torchlight moving down the spine, all the way down to the sacrum. And then coming all the way back up as you exhale. So sometimes our mind likes different imagery. It just helps to focus. So take that little beam of light, that sphere of light, moving it down and up. So this is a mindfulness practice using a gentle visualization. And we can always infuse this with tenderness. So imagining that light, just caring for healing any places of vulnerability or achiness in the spine. We often get soreness in the lower back if we're worrying about basic needs, financial needs. So letting that light shine and heal. Remembering that right now there's nothing else to do, nowhere else that you need to be. We're learning to cultivate a tender quality of presence. And once we become familiar with this felt sense of presence and tenderness, it naturally spills out from us to the people around. And just as the body feels safer and can go further when there's that quality of trust, of presence, those in our care as well feel safer, can explore beyond their current level of comfort, finding new expressions of freedom. And now sitting to one side of your feet, we'll take a kind of spiral twist. It's a lovely open-hearted twist. So if your feet are to your left, then bring your right arm round, your left hand to your right knee and lift up the heart. And then gently feel that expansive twist. So it's really a long, spiraling movement. And we never want to miss an opportunity for our abdomen to awaken. So just coming back, hands behind you, letting the legs lift into your little boat. And then bringing the feet to the other side. So the left hand down, right hand holding the knee and lifting, opening, spiraling the body. Each vertebrae participating towards this common good, this sense of flexibility. Then release. Once again, hands behind, lifting the feet, maybe legs straight this time. Just finding your boat. And then we'll gently come into half boat. Up once more. And down, all the way down this time. Until you find Mother Earth. So take the baby toes to the edge of your mat. And then gently windscreen wiper. Another lovely freeing twist, particularly if you've done some back bends or heart expansion. Just finding this lovely freeing windscreen wiper pose. Can particularly nourish the sacrum. There's a massage, but that moves through the whole of the spine. And then you may like to hug it in just to feel that tight curve, that little C curve in the spine. And then opening out into your pentagon or your shavasana, using a blanket to keep you warm. Our final expression of tenderness, of mercy, of care for this body of ours, where all the different parts, interdependent, care for our well-being and health. There's a nice little adjustment you may enjoy, just to press the back of the head onto the ground. Use the elbows and then lift the heart and draw the shoulder blades further down, sort of slide them down the upper back. You may notice how the heart can open. The neck can lengthen. And Shavasana awaits. Deep relaxation. mind has a tendency of moving into the future, maybe just count your last 5 deep breaths. Or even visualizing that light moving up and down the spine. And then wiggling toes and fingers. Bringing the knees up into the chest for one more hug of mercy, of tenderness. Rolling to one side and finding your way back to where we began. Our Sukhasana, the pose of ease. And really getting a sense of the common good, the whole of life, human, animal, plant life, all sentient beings. And whatever sense of interdependence you found today through exploring the spine, the body, imagine now kind of sending that out with appreciation, with gratitude for all the different parts of this world that support us. So instead of sounding the Om today, we'll send out our dedication on the 3 sounds of the bell. And you can imagine the vibration of the bell just expanding out in ever widening circles. And hands come together at the heart. Namaste.